There are seasons where you are doing everything right, showing up, working hard, being responsible, and yet something inside you feels off. Like you're moving, but not quite in the right direction. Like life is happening, but it doesn't fully feel like your life. If you've ever felt that, this month was for you. Hello everyone, welcome back to my sermon notes with Wura Mercy. Our theme this month was on purpose. And I'm not exaggerating when I say these messages wrecked me in the best way. Because we didn't just talk about purpose, we were taken back to the very beginning, to the source, to the reason we exist at all. Let's get into it. There is a craving inside every human being that will not stay quiet, a restlessness, a question that surfaces at the most inconvenient times. Why am I here? Is this really it? Am I really living the life that I was made for? These questions are not crises. It is a compass. The heart was created as a throne room for God. And because of that, nothing else you try to fill it with will ever truly be enough. Not success, not achievement, not the life you designed for yourself. That ache you feel, that longing for more, is not a sign that something is wrong. It is a signpost pointing you to the only one who can satisfy it, God. But the enemy has introduced two lies. Lies that have led so many people astray. The first one, that your life means nothing. That you're here by accident, with no design, no author, no plan. So people drift, unanchored, settling for whatever life hands them. The second lie is more dangerous because it sounds like freedom. It says your life means something you get to decide. You are your own author, you write your own purpose. And so people spend their whole lives building something that looks great, that looks successful, and yet something is always missing. See, you can succeed completely out of God's plan for your life. And that is one of the most tragic things that can happen to a person. So, let's be clear about what purpose is not. It is not your career. That can be a vehicle, but it is not the destination. It is not your success. You can be successful and completely off course. It is not your happiness. Yes, happiness can flow from purpose, but it cannot guide you to it. Purpose is that one thing for which you were created, the one thing at which you must succeed, because everything else you accomplish without it will not ultimately count. And here's what shifted everything. Your purpose is not a thing, it is a person. His name is Jesus. Colossians chapter 1 verse 16 says, all things were created by him and for him. You were made by God and for God. That is the foundation. To fully understand our purpose, we have to trace it back to the original, the source code. Genesis chapter 1 verse 26, God says, let us make man in our image, after our likeness. You are someone made in the image and likeness of God. Before your title, before your career, before your past, that is the most accurate description of who you are, a carrier of the image of the Most High God. What does that mean practically? It means you have dominion and stewardship on this earth. You were not created to be passive. You were created to rule, not for your own glory, but on His behalf. The image of God in man and authority on earth go hand in hand. Dominion and inactivity cannot coexist. It also means your identity is relational before it's functional. Before you do anything for God, you are someone who belongs to God. That comes first, always. Now, sin distorted that image, but Christ came as the express image of the invisible God, the perfect representation. And in Him, our identity and our purpose are fully restored. Sanctification, that is the process of becoming more like Christ, is not just spiritual growth. It is the restoration of the image you were always created to carry. That is the backbone of your purpose. Now let's talk about something practical. Work. In Genesis 2, God placed man in the garden to tend it and to keep it. And when we look at the original Hebrew, something beautiful surfaces. The word for tend, abad, is the same word used elsewhere for worship and priestly service, while the word for keep, shamar, means to guard, to protect, like a custodian. Work was never just about productivity. Work was worship. It was sacred from the very beginning. But here's a distinction that I found so freeing this month. There is a difference between your purpose and your assignment. Purpose is not unique to you. Every person in Christ shares the same eternal calling, to know Him and to make Him known. That is why we exist. Your assignment, however, is specific, seasonal, functional. It is the particular thing God has asked you to do right now, in this season, with what is in your hands. Purpose asks, why do I exist? Your assignment answers, what am I responsible for right now? And your assignment can start with your job. Colossians 3:23 says to do your work wholeheartedly as unto the Lord, not men. Your Monday to Friday, they really matter to God. This is not a call to despise work. It is an invitation to sanctify it. Romans chapter 8 verse 28. It says, all things work together for good to those who are called according to His purpose. Notice, His purpose, not yours. God is not waiting to endorse your 5-year plan. He already has one. And He's absolutely committed to it, not to what you prefer. If your purpose has you at the center, that is not purpose. Purpose has to be greater than you. When you align with God's plan, you become unstoppable. Acts chapter 5 verse 38 to 39 makes it plain. What is of God cannot be overthrown. And what the enemy means for evil, God means for good. The greatest safety you will ever find is not in comfort or in certainty. It is inside the will of God. But knowing your purpose is one thing. Pursuing it is another. Jeremiah said it like this. His word is in my heart like a fire shut up in my bones. I am weary of holding it in. I cannot. That is what purpose feels like from the inside. It does not wait for comfort. It does not ask for convenience. It cannot be permanently contained. No, it cannot. So here are a few things you should carry with you. Purpose does not wait for a perfect moment. If you're waiting until everything is in order, you will wait forever. Purpose requires sacrifice. Something has to give. Something must go. Everyone who has ever walked in purpose had to release something to make room for what God had. Purpose requires ambition, but not for yourself. Ambition for a greater cause. Ambition for a cause that is greater than you. A heart that is genuinely malleable in the hands of God. And when resistance comes, and trust me, it will come, keep your gaze on what God has said, not on how hard the wind is blowing. Don't confuse visibility with significance. Some of the most important work in the kingdom happens quietly. Feed the fire. Fan the flame. Don't let the weight of life cool what God put inside of you. 1 Corinthians chapter 9 says, a man of purpose is a man of conviction and complete determination. The secret of those who finish is discipline. So here is where we land. You were not made by accident. You were made on purpose, for a purpose, by a God who wastes nothing. Your purpose is a person, Jesus. Your assignment is the specific, beautiful thing He has placed in your hands for this season. And the unstoppable move of God is looking for people who are willing to say, not my will, but yours. Be one of those people. Carry the fire, stay the course, and finish well. This has been my sermon notes with Wura Mercy, this month's word in my words. I'll see you in the next one. Bye!